first thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to share the screen for the Swagger documentation, right? So let's start up our timer.
It's time to do.
All right. So this is the Node Package Manager repo for Swagger auto generation. This module performs automatic construction of Swagger documentation. It can identify the endpoints and automatically capture methods such as get, post, put, and so on. It also identifies paths, routes, middleware, response status codes, parameters and paths, headers, queries, and body. It is possible to add information such as an endpoint description, parameter description, schemas, security, amongst other, using comments and codes. At the end, it generates a .json file containing Swagger format specifications. All right. So this is how we're going to install it, and we will. So and then this is the actual website. So let me drop this in the chat. This is the npm, and then this is the quick start, or this is the website for Swagger Autogen from on their GitHub, and I'm gonna drop this one in the chat, and then we'll go through it. All right. I already have WebStorm open in the other screen, and we'll switch over to it when it comes time to. But let's read it real quick, right? So let's say introduction. We already read this part. So how we're gonna install it: npm install save dev Swagger Autogen, and to update it. So then once we get here, we're gonna go to getting started. Let's go to the quick start. So pretty much we're going to be using the ES module, and this is the code that we're going to be implementing. Swagger. So there's going to be a file called swagger.js, and we're going to do pretty much this. Set an output file, and then the path to the routes, and Swagger Autogen output file. Looks pretty straightforward, but we'll figure it out. We shall figure it out, all right? And Mitch, if you stop by Ferris's stream, me and him, we're always fighting. We're always going back and forth, right? It's like Ferris is like a little brother. He's like a little brother to me, all right? So we're always strategizing, talking, and seeing and sharing ideas and stuff like that, right? So no Ferris slander in the chat, Mitch. No Ferris slander, all right? All right. But if I was to put him in a chokehold, it would probably be a rare rear naked choke, right? If you guys are not familiar with that type of choke, it is probably one of the most used chokes in the UFC, in MMA. So that's a choke I would use. That's a choke that I would use. But Ferris did say he's going to be starting training soon, so maybe that might not work, right? Anyways, I digress. All right? So let's get to... I got it. Think that's hilarious. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so here we are. So the first thing I'm going to do, which I always tell you guys, learning Git is very, very important. I'm going to create a new branch. Where's my mouse? All right, there we go. So we're going to do Git, or what branch am I on? Git, checkout, develop, and Git pull to pull the latest stuff that's up there. All right, we're up to date. And I'm going to do Git. So normally I would be creating a new branch through Jira, but we don't have a story for this inside of, we don't have a story. Like we already did the story for the generating the Swagger documentation, and that story was closed out in our sprint. So I'm going to be creating so at my job, the way that we create when we create a branch that doesn't have an associated story, we just call it no tick for no ticket, right? So I just like to replicate what I do at work, because that way it gives people insight and strategies on how to work effectively. I think that the team that I'm on, the squad that I'm on at work, is probably one of the best at the company, if I must say so myself. But so we're gonna do git checkout and then B for branch, create a new branch, and we're gonna call it no tick for no ticket, and we're gonna call that I'm gonna be fancy with my branch name. We're gonna have some fun with the branch name, right? No one. We're gonna call it no one generates Swagger docs like us. How you like that, Yakar? How do you like that branch name? All right, so now we're on our branch. So we're on our branch. We are going to go to, so let's see, what do we have? We have, there's a folder for docs, I believe, because I did merge it in, I think. I thought I had merged it in. Maybe I didn't. That's weird. Oh yeah, there it goes, docs. There you go, docs. All right. So, I am going to create a new folder. I'm going to create a new folder. We're going to call that, I'll call it, call it documentation. Call it auto docs. Let's call it auto docs. All right. And we're going to go into here. We're going to say npm. So as it said over here, to install npm install save-dev swagger-autogen. And you know who gave us a shout out to Heist King, because he's the one who gave me the idea. I didn't even know you could do auto generation of Swagger docs. But he's the one who gave me the idea. I'm like, what? You can do that? Let's give it a try. So shout out to Heist King. All right, so have a new version of npm. This won't hurt to update it. Let's keep our software up to date so we do not fall victim to cyber threats. All right. So, all right. Let's see. All right, perfect. So we have our Swagger auto generation created. Let's go to all right, so we got that. And the next thing we're going to do, pull up the quick start. All right, so we're going to create a file inside of here or inside of Auto Docs. New file, we're going to call that swagger.js. And we're going to say, we're going to use ES modules. So we're going to say import swagger auto gen from swagger autogen. All right. And now we're going to say constant doc equals, and we're going to say info, and that's going to be title will be Pat's quotes Grader API. And we're going to say description. What's the description? Return random or quotes API with random quotes by author and whatever. That's not that serious. That we can always update later. And we will say host, local host, 3,000. All right. All right. So that close that out. And then we say const output file or the output file equals, and it's gonna be swagger output. I should put it in this folder though, 'cause I don't want it to go into the root. So I'd say, I'll do it like this for now. I can always delete it after if I don't like, because I probably won't like where it saves it, but I can always figure that out later. Const roots. So now we have to identify our roots files. So they live in, I think I only have one of them. So the structure that I create, so I need to delete some of the, I have to clean up this repo, but the way I structured it is listening to Robert C. Martin, his recommendation for clean coding, clean architecture is that you should be able to know exactly what the application is doing just by looking at the folder structures. So that's why I have quotes here. And then under the quotes, we have controllers, models, and routes so that I can know, okay, this folder is handling all the stuff with the quotes. Instead of like having controllers and then all the way inside of controllers, you have something for quotes. And then all the way inside of models, you have something for quotes. So what I would do is once we start implementing users, I would have a folder for users, and then under users, we know this is all the stuff for users. There's going to be controllers, models, routes for the users. So that was my idea behind why I created this quotes folder as a top level and not like a controllers folder as a top level. Because still always, trying to find like the best way to organize architecture, all that good stuff, right? So with that being said, the routes or the root, is it root or routes? I don't know. I've heard it said different ways, right? Anyways, so we're gonna go to here and we're gonna say src slash quotes slash routes.js. And that's the only route that we actually have right now. So we'll leave that as that. And then there's a note here that says, if you're using the express router, you must pass in the routes only the root file where your route starts, such as index.js, app.js, routes.js. Only the root file. Oh, in that case. Interesting. So in that case, I probably will need the app dot probably just need this one then. I probably just need this one then. So if we switch this then to, yeah, I mean, we'll find out, right? We'll definitely find out. It'll keep us accountable if we're wrong. So let's go here. And then we do swagger autogen and then output file routes duck. All right, so then we go back over here. To build the documentation, add the following script in your package. So scripts, swagger. All right, so now let's go to our package.json. Under scripts, I'm gonna copy and throw in swagger node. So this should be under auto docs / swagger.js. All right, now, are we done for the night already? This can't be that easy. This can't not be that easy. All right, so let's go to, so now it says to run the following command, npm run swagger. Let's find out what happens. Let's find out what happens, all right? Well, something happened. Let's find out what happened. So we have inside of AutoDocs, we have our swagger.output.json. Now the question is, how do we use it? Because if we open it up, oh, whoa, 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 what just happened here? I was not expecting to see that. I was not expecting to see that. So when I open this, it automatically popped this up as well. Where they do that at? Where they do that at?
Bruh.
So, let's see. So I don't have the application started. Interesting. Should I start the application? If I start the app, so see, and this is why I need my 128 gigs of RAM, because now I'm doing the math in my head. For me to start the application, I need to start up Docker in order for this to work with localhost. And if I start up Docker, then it's going to take up a lot of resources, and then it's going to slow down the computer, and then it might slow down the stream. But let's see. So let's see what happens. But this is cool though. This is progress. This is progress. Let me see if I open up this response to it. So expecting 200 okay. Expecting a 500 internal server error. Interesting. If I click try it out, what happens? So if I click try it out, so now the thing that's missing is the details. The deets. What are the deets? So, but this is pretty cool. This did a lot of stuff, right? I like it. I like it a lot. But now what we can continue doing is, all right, how do we add like some comments on what each endpoint is trying to do? And then also talking about authentication as well. So we're going to go through the documentation to find out how we do that, all right? So let's go back over here. But there's another thing though. How do we get this to, because what I see here is that when we open this JSON file, sure, it works great. But how do we share this documentation with whoever is trying to learn it? I don't only want them to be able to access it by going into the repo, because like with the other one, with the regular generation, like the manual generation, it created a whole website or web page for us that we're able to use. So let's go and start looking into the documentation, all right? But I am very, very impressed by this. Shout out again to Heist King for hitting us up with, hey, why don't you just do auto generation? I was like, what? What do you speak of, good sir? What do you speak of? But guess what? We're like maybe 25% of the way there. 25% of the way there.
I appreciate you.
All right. So looking at the documentation, let's see what we got. So to build a documentation, all right, we run the command. So let's take a look at the simple example. Start, right. So run. So I want to know, how do they get to, like, is it a web page that this is under, or is it a run the project and access the documentation at doc? I wonder can I do that? Let me see. Oh, actually, I would have, I don't know if I can run the project. Let me try. Let me see what I can do. Because I know that it won't fully start up because I don't have the database up and running, but I can live with that. If I go to, all right, so now if I go to over here and we do Localhost
Lunch break.
3000.
Lunch break.
Docs. Not found. All right, well, whatever. Let's go to break, and then we'll keep trying this out. It's interesting. I got a not found this way, so we'll figure it out. We shall figure it out one way or the other, right?
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.